Hey, and welcome back to the Drip System, where we look at all things UAP, NHI, UFOs, aliens, and mysteries in general, spirituality, all these kind of things. And today I have a special treat, a longer format episode. We are going to look at a new 4chan whistleblower that just came out. We're going to look at every post, and I'm going to comment as best as I can. I've looked at it a little bit already, so I'm naming this whistleblower the Pleiadian or the Nordic whistleblower, and you will know why in a second. So let's get started. So as usual, it was posted as an anonymous poster. He actually posted a video of another crash retrieval, very similar to the Jake Barber case that just came forward, an egg. So we're going to look at this real quick as well. So you can see it swinging here, the egg in a crate, or not in a crate, in a harness, similar to the Jake Barber UAP that came out. And they claim this one is an ancient one, though, that was found 2021 in Antarctica in a cave. But that's not the only thing they found there, which is the most interesting part of this. And we're going to look at it in a second, like I said. But this one, to me, I mean, I'm no specialist in CGI, but it doesn't look fake necessarily. Looks very similar, just that you can't really see past this contraption here, which fits to the description of a helicopter pilot who said this should be the view we should be seeing. He was surprised that we saw what was dangling below so clearly. So in this case, this is more accurate, it seems like. All right, so let's go through this step by step. No way, another one, says someone here. Oh, that was him, actually, the OG poster. He says, who are you? Next question. Where did you get this video? Antarctica, November 2022. Did you take the video? No. Like we established before. Why does it look extremely similar to the News Nation video? Same civilization and same purpose. Aha, interesting. What kind of purpose could that be? Why now to release this? I cannot answer that. Cannot? Does not want to? Is not allowed to? Is this planned disclosure, like many are suspecting? Could be. Let's move on. Do you have any more information you can share regarding UAP retrievals? Seems to be of ancient origin. There's no way of getting inside of it, but it doesn't seem to be hollow. It's not heavy, not that heavy. The material is unknown, but it's some kind of metal. Who you worked for, same task force as Jake Barber, Department of Defense, DOD, same task force as Jake Barber, no. Care to share any details whatsoever on the object? Seems to be of ancient origin. There's no way of getting inside. Okay, that we just had. Why did you put civilization in quotes? What was found inside the cave was more like a military base than a civilization. Very interesting. I don't know what these non-human entities were doing. The place was abandoned. A military base. In a cave in Antarctica. Okay. If you didn't record it, who did? UN Office for Outer Space Affairs. First time I'm hearing of this. UNUSA or UNUSA. UN Office for Outer Space Affairs. That's a bombshell right there. What were you doing in Antarctica, November 2022? Retrieving ancient artifacts or technology. We found a live, non-human sentient being within a coffin-like pod. It doesn't use cryogenics, but it has kept the entity alive. Okay, I have a theory on this because I read this before, and this fits strangely with what some of the Pleiadian contactees, channelers, telepathy contactees have said before, that Pleiadians usually, supposedly, allegedly, I know this is very far out there for people who are just nuts and bolts, but bear with me here, this is just a theory, I'm not saying this is true, but some Pleiadians, or many Pleiadians, supposedly go into these dream pods, or what they call them, I'm not sure, but they can project their soul, their consciousness into this reality, because they apparently are usually living in a higher realm, higher density, higher dimension, but they can come here to Earth and live a life as human, by getting in these pods and then projecting their spirit, their energy, their soul into, well, a human being, and then being born and then dying here eventually and then waking up back in the pod. Basically like a Matrix kind of system. Very interesting. This seems like it because they said it's not a coffin and it doesn't have cryogenics, but it kept them alive. That would fit that theory at least. Interesting. Just something to think about. Not saying it's true, just saying that's what I thought of. What is the provenance of this video file? This video was recorded by UN Office for Outer Space Affairs, UNUSA. Antarctica is a no man's land, so this was a team effort. The pilots were American, but most of the scientific and archaeological teams were European. Got any proof or documentation that this actually happened besides the video? No. Got more videos, photos? Many more. You wouldn't imagine. Okay. That's very exciting. I think I will be authorized to post more soon. But for now, you'll have to be satisfied with this. By the way, I'm not saying this person is legit. Could be a LARPer for sure. But so far, it's just very interesting. The creature was found in a pod. Did you look at it? This is also what spiked my curiosity. Or what piqued my curiosity. I have photos of them. They are tall. 8 feet tall. That's very tall. White long hair with a human face, yet there is something off. The entity is alive and recuperated quite fast from their sleep. So this description also fits the Pleiadian or Nordic description that you always get. White long hair or white or long blonde hair with a human face, attractive features and stuff like that. Queen Elizabeth Range Mountains. Is that where you found these things? Yes. Got any word of any other whistleblowers coming out soon? No. But I wouldn't trust most of the ones you see on those Congress streams. There are 2 groups, as most of you know here. One wants disclosure, the others don't. Let's just say the others are presenting you bullshit. You're getting more info here now. Could be that he's the disinformant or disinformation agent. We never know. Did you interact with it, with the NHI? No, but I spoke with someone who did. The entity learns quite fast. They learned English and German in less than a week. Also interesting, so they didn't speak it. Okay, just something to note. Let's say I am one of the good guys. Well, you can say that. We don't know if it's true, but you can certainly say that. Yes. Male and female creatures. Would you say they are attractive? The one we have in Europe is male. They have one in Europe. Okay. What base, I wonder? The one we have in Europe is male. Is it the one in Greenland? The Thule base, maybe? Just speculation here. Is this why Trump wants Greenland so bad? Is there more than meets the eye, maybe? More secrets? I'd say they are attractive features. Okay. Strong chin, blue eyes, white blonde hair, and so on. What were they wearing? This one was naked when we found him. Naked, okay, interesting. Any symbols on the craft or anything? No symbols on the egg, nothing. Inside, we did find some things. Symbols. Okay, but this is as far as I can go. Sorry. Didn't he say before that they couldn't get inside? That they don't think it's hollow? That's interesting. That's definitely strange. Here, seems to be of ancient origin. There's no way of getting inside it, but it doesn't seem to be hollow. It's not that heavy. The materials are known, but it's some kind of metal. And then down here he says, no symbols on the egg, nothing. Inside we did find some things. That is concerning. Maybe this is an error that he made unknowingly, or it's to throw people off. What do you think? Did the being have human-like genitals? Yes and no. The penis is similar to that of a human. We do have photos of it. Okay. The first interstellar dick pic. But the tip is similar to that of a chimpanzee, all right? The scrotum is just like ours. What does it? I don't want to Google that. I don't know what that looks like, to be honest. Did he talk through vocals or telepathy? He can do both, yet the second form only works with some of our teams. Some of the people who interacted with him didn't listen to his telepathic communications on their heads. According to him, it has to do with acceptance. Okay, you know what I'm thinking, by the way? He makes mistakes in his grammar and spelling and stuff like that. So maybe he is German, or not German necessarily, but maybe a European for sure, because he said the one they got in Europe is male. How would he know that? Maybe he's from a European base somewhere and he makes mistakes in English, so that could be why, I suppose. He can do both, Some of the people who interacted with him didn't listen to his telepathic communications on their heads. According to him, it has to do with acceptance. This reminds me of the telepathy tapes. The nonverbal autistic telepaths there, they said they can only communicate with someone if the person accepts that it's possible. Interesting, or I guess accepts the incoming transmission. How did his voice sound? According to the astrobiologist I spoke with, his voice, or the voice sounds like your own. It's strange. He basically said it sounds like when you're thinking a monologue. I heard that before as well, that is why it's so hard to differentiate from just thinking and hearing your own thoughts in your head. You never know if it's you or someone else talking to you. Interesting. Very interesting. Can you let us know anything he said? Many things. He was born here 700 years ago. He was born here. So he says he was born on Earth. Okay. When you listen to the Pleiadian contactees and channelers and stuff like that, I don't think they ever said that Pleiadians are born on Earth. They always say they come from higher realms, higher dimensions, but I guess it's not impossible. I heard they can turn down their frequency, lower their frequency, and then appear here in our reality. He says the closer we got to understand God... What? He says the closer we got to understand God was the corpus Hermeticum. What is that? What is Corpus Hermeticum? The Corpus Hermeticum is a collection of Greek philosophical and religious texts attributed to in antiquity to the legendary sage Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes the thrice great. Although the writings were once believed, especially during the Renaissance, to be of immense antiquity, some claimed they predated Moses, modern scholarship dates the text primarily to the early centuries of the Common Era, 1st to 3rd century CE. They represent a fascinating blend of Hellenistic, Egyptian, and Jewish ideas and belong to the broader tradition known as Hermeticism. Below is an overview of the key aspects. Themes and contents, divine mind and the cosmos. The texts often emphasize a nous or divine mind that shapes and orders the cosmos. Human beings endowed with reason can connect with this divine principle. A central idea is the unity and interdependence of all levels of reality, material, mental, and spiritual. Spiritual ascent and gnosis. Hermetic writings frequently discuss humanity's potential for gnosis, deep experiential knowledge of the divine. The soul's journey is depicted as a process of shedding ignorance and realizing an inherent kinship with the divine mind. Interesting. Nature and divinity. Nature is often portrayed as a living sacred force. Humanity's task is to learn to work in harmony with cosmic powers rather than against them. The Hermetic worldview sees the universe as alive and purposeful, with the human microcosm mirroring the cosmic macrocosm. Moral and ethical dimensions. Several treatises contain moral exhortations. The seeker is urged to pursue self-control, piety, and devotion to the divine. The quest for knowledge is not purely intellectual. Moral purification is presented as essential for true wisdom. He says the closer we got to understand God was the Corpus Hermeticum. Or maybe to understanding what the Corpus Hermeticum is, what the universe is like. He considers us selfish and childish, so the NHI does. He says we were happier during this time, back then. Can't tell you more than this, okay? The race saved us millions of years ago from our creators, who basically engineered us to serve them. Earth should be treasured. It's a miracle. Okay? You often hear that Earth is a special planet in the universe. That's very rare. Also heard stories about how Earth is a school for souls. That's coming from the Pleiadian disclosure often. How we are sent here to learn and then evolve, go back to source and share what we learned, basically. And that is how the universe, how source, how God learns, supposedly, allegedly. What info do you have about the origin, culture, and reason to be there? We're still trying to understand their origin. His notion of space and time is different from ours. That is also fitting with the Pleiadian context, because if they come from a higher dimension, there might not be any time. And space is definitely different there. It's a different space. So they came here as space missionaries. When they arrived, another advanced race was already here. This other race created Homo neanderthalensis to serve them and help them take Earth's resources. However, it was a failure, and Homo sapiens was created later on. When the space missionaries arrived, they entered into a war with the other race to save us. Since then, they have been protecting us. In fact, back in 1975, they stopped a nuclear war. The other race, according to the entity, represents what we could become if we don't change. Advanced oppressors with no spirituality to guide us. Interesting. The last conflict here on Earth occurred in 1561 during the celestial phenomenon over Nuremberg. Oh, so this woodcut of a space or a sky war, I suppose. I've seen that before. It's very interesting. I can show you in a second. So that is it. This here. Looks like lots of UAP and some are crashed down here. So definitely could be what he described. I think it is. Okay, let's take this apart a little bit. So they came as space missionaries, meaning they want to convert us to something, to their way of being and belief, I suppose, spirituality. The other race, probably what they usually call the Anunnaki, was here to enslave us, to let us mine for gold, or so the story goes. And they created, so the story goes, a certain subset of humans. So not all humans were like that. That's what I've read, at least. They just changed a certain bloodline into their image, the ones with the elongated heads, supposedly, allegedly. And then this other species came in. Also, I've heard with other species, the Galactic Federation, whatever you want to call them, together, and they freed us from them, and then created us from their own image. And that's why the Bible says they created, or God created us in their own image, or in his own image, whatever you want to call him, or it, the cosmos, or the Pleiadians in this case, the source, because all are part of the source, supposedly, allegedly. And so Pleiadians and whatever other races are in the Federation, or whatever you want to call this conglomerate of species, would also be part of Source, obviously. And here, this is interesting. They stopped a nuclear war in 1975. There are often stories of them, I mean, even nowadays, of them going over nuclear facilities. And sometimes, like in this case probably, they stopped the nukes from working. And this is very interesting as well. The other race, according to the entity, represents what we could become if we don't change. That's the path we're on at the moment, I feel like. I mean, also, I feel like a spiritual awakening is happening, luckily. But I also very much feel that this could be true, that like we could become a very advanced technological race that brings war to the galaxy if we don't change, if we don't look inside, and if we don't find peace and love. So this is concerning that they also think that. But they protected us ever since. That is also what Pleiadian disclosure says. Again, this could be a LARPer that also does the Pleiadian disclosure online, could also be a lie or red herring or whatever. We will not know until they show themselves, whoever they are, in whatever shape or form. But this fits at least with the theme of what is being presented by them. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. How can I assure this is not a LARP? That's up for you to decide. I know what I have and what I shared. I know what I have and what I shared. Okay. Also, what do you think of Elizondo? Okay. Is he a massive grifter or saying the truth? Isn't he the one claiming aliens are demons? I wouldn't trust fundamentalist Christians pretending to be whistleblowers. So he does not speak highly of Luis Elizondo. Interesting. I mean, make of that what you will. If he's a liar, maybe he just wants to discredit Luis Elizondo. If he's being truthful, we might have a problem on our hands. If all of the current whistleblowers and people who come out are just intelligence agency assets or assets of the program, the crash retrieval program, that would be a big problem. I mean, it would fit with the theme of controlled disclosure. They might want humanity to know something, but not the most essential stuff, maybe. Maybe they would just want us to know about the technological side of things, but not about the spiritual side of things, so they can keep control. Who knows? What do you think? Any questions you would ask other whistleblowers, leakers? No. Those who are telling the truth belong to the same team. We already know what is to be known. I wouldn't want to ask anything from the others who are not part of my system, because everything they would tell would be either disinformation or lies mixed with the truth. There's an internal conflict within the government between the factions, or between two factions. Let's just say I support the idea of humans knowing, once again, that we are not alone, that the gods are out there. Gods in quotation marks, because back then people confused these higher beings for gods, obviously. I mean, a technology that is developed high enough is indistinguishable from magic, right? So, got any code words we can Google? What is known is already known, and what is not known is not on Google. Makes sense. Why would it be? You'll get more info from books, even those from antiquity, like Plato's Timaeus. Were these creators of Neanderthals the Anunnaki? Anunnaki was a human given name, but yes, the myth was born from that event. The entities that created us were, according to the one in the Antarctic cave, selfish, devoid of spirituality, materialistic, and parasitic. They are still around. Okay, that's concerning. With some of them remaining in underground areas. The conflict between the two groups has given rise to many myths in the human mind. Prometheus, Devas versus Asuras, Satan versus Yahweh, and so on. Why are they always hiding? They come from a culture where each sentient being must walk alone, and as he put it, be initiated through their own suffering. Okay. That is interesting. If he means the Pleiadians, that fits with the concept of them coming down here as souls into a human body and then learning through suffering and pain. That's obviously something that doesn't sit right with many people. Why would intelligent, benevolent, and spiritual beings want that for anyone to go through that? But I've heard that if you suffer, you learn much quicker. And so they consciously decided to go through that. They choose soul plans before they come here and precisely decide what kind of trauma, I suppose, or things they want to go through and what they want to learn from it, hopefully. Sometimes they don't learn, then we have to come back, and that's what reincarnation apparently is all about as well. Supposedly, allegedly, okay? Don't crucify me. He claims they hide because there was a time they were always with us, but we didn't evolve, we didn't develop. We were like children, and apparently we still are. That does make sense, though. If they were looking and watching over us and giving us everything we need all the time, why would we evolve? That does make sense to me. Although he has been asleep for many years, he has maintained contact with the others through unknown means. He tells us that something big is happening this year, 2025. That also fits with the Pleiadian disclosure, because they say, the shift will happen, so us being elevated to a higher frequency, and thus another dimension, leaving evil behind and just feeling love, basically. And they say that disclosure will only come after that event. And that event is initiated by the Pleiadians themselves, by the beings. Once humans are developed high enough on their own, they will help us, give us a nudge, basically. But here, maintaining contact with others through unknown means could also mean that he was in the pod and having projected his soul into another body and just living here on Earth. And we basically woke him up, red-pilled him. And he had to wake up into the real world again, or in his own body at least. Strange that he was in this density already, though. What purpose did that have? Why was he left behind, or why did he decide to stay behind in that military base in Antarctica? So what big thing is happening this year? Is it disclosure? Partial disclosure maybe? A spiritual awakening? Or is it the shift? I guess we'll find out. Are recovery missions coordinated through your single department? Or are multiple nations involved under this UNUSA directive? Multiple. That's what I thought. That's what everyone is saying as well. What are the protocols for securing a crash site? Are private contractors involved, or is it exclusively handled by government agencies? Securing a crash site, especially one involving UAP, is tightly controlled by government agencies. Military units establish a perimeter, assess hazards, and prevent unauthorized access. Private contractors may assist with logistics or technical support, but work under strict government supervision and NDAs. Communication is heavily encrypted, and materials are quickly transported to secure facilities. Secrecy and containment are the top priorities. What are the primary concerns during retrieval, security, and contamination or potential retaliation? The primary concerns during retrieval include ensuring the crash site is contained to prevent unauthorized access and securing any sensitive materials. There's also a significant focus on preventing contamination, as the object could pose biological, chemical, or radiological risks. Specialized teams are equipped to handle these hazards while protecting personnel and the surrounding environment. Another concern is the possibility of retaliation, either from the origin of the object or from adversarial groups seeking to exploit the situation. Maintaining secrecy and operational control is essential throughout the process. More details on the abandoned military base. The cave was enormous. I can share some photos in a few hours. By the way, I am not suicidal. If I go silent without sharing anything else, fear the worst. I'm not joking. Like Jake Barber said, people were killed. And their team was threatened with death as well, or almost killed. I'm not sure. The base was underground, no tech, only the egg. The pod with sleeping entity. So was the egg the pod? Or was the pod separate? There was a strange metallic box containing a few tomes or books in a language which seems to be a mix of Sumerian and Proto-European. We're still analyzing it, but the entity refuses to give us any detailed description. I wonder why. Does the Nibiru Planet X myth hold any water as the home of the Anunnaki? It's a myth. The creators come from an unknown place. According to the entity, they destroyed Mars' civilization during a war also. All because Mars refused to be annexed to their empire. Concerning. What happened to Mars was told time and time again by our saviors to our ancestors. This is why Mars is seen as the planet of war and blood on many ancient cultures. Interesting, that would make sense. Our creators are destructive, and we are not different, really. No, we're not, unfortunately. Are they the hidden ones in control and manipulation of the Earth hierarchy? They are. The Dwight D. Eisenhower alliance is real, and instead of accepting those who want to really help us, he went with the creators. He and the other leaders traded civilians for small tech leaks. Yeah, I mean, some say he did an alliance with the Greys, and maybe the Greys were just emissaries for the Anunnaki. Who knows, for the creators. Also very interesting, these creators are very similar to the ones depicted in the newer alien movies, like Prometheus. They get this kind of warring dictator species kind of vibe. OP, would you comment on what lies are being told by the other faction? Aliens are not demons. There are no remote viewers finding UAPs, okay? There are no alien dead bodies. All are alive and work with us because they want to. Some because they want to continue the abduction project, while others, like those working with us, want to see us flourish. If they wanted to leave, they would, and we couldn't stop them. They're hiding, and if we had dead bodies, believe me, they would fetch them in a heartbeat, whatever we wanted it. Whatever, we wanted it or not. So another mistake here. They are not surrendering the UAPs to us. These civilizations are millions of years old, and we are ants compared to them. That's also what some of the Pleiadian disclosure personnel has said that the Pleiadian craft are not captured. They don't crash because they're millions of years advanced. What crashes allegedly are lower developed species that are on a higher level technologically, but not spiritually. So similar to us, but just higher up in the technological department here. Most retrievals are from ancient machinery, abandoned basically. They don't crash per se. Although during the conflict in deserted areas, we might find crashed ones. But didn't he just say they would retrieve them then? Or the bodies, I suppose. But what about the Nazca mummies and stuff like that? Because it seems that they are real bodies, unless they're masterfully crafted. Because now more and more physicians come out and surgeons and look at them, doctors, and they all say they're real. So if that is the case, maybe it's because they are from a different species and they don't care about them. I don't know. Because Pleiadian disclosure has also talked about them being of a lower developed species and not of Pleiadian origin or Nordic. I'm calling them Pleiadian. I know all this time some people might find that annoying, but just imagine I say Nordics, same thing. Are there defense plans in place for potential hostile encounters? Was there ever even any hostile encounters with these things at all? Would you just shoot the mother frickers? They are shootable. They're mortals, but their spiritual and psychic power is so no words. If you pointed a gun at them, they could probably force you into shooting yourself in the head, like Jedi, basically. Interesting. Maybe that's where this Jedi thing comes from. This seems like something out of a movie, but it's real. We tested it without guns, of course. The entity explained that we're all connected. Therefore, it can tap into you and you into me. Therefore, I can tap into you and you into me, okay? Yeah, like the consciousness field, like the Force, like in Star Wars. Do you know if the drones and orbs we're seeing are related to this egg or pot tag you've encountered? The videos I've seen of the drones are eerie as frick. Some are eggs, others are orbs. The so-called Foo Fighters, okay? So they are the Foo Fighters, these egg-shaped ones. The CIA remote viewed a race on Mars that was 10 feet tall, I believe, and their planet had geological problems. Do you know anything about this? Yes, we call it temporal view. The remote viewer saw the past. In fact, he was seeing the last survivors of the Martian War. And the asteroid belt, from what I've read, it's from a destroyed planet. Wow. Okay. I read somewhere that they found nuclear radiation on Mars as well. Maybe I'm wrong. It was a planet destroyed by the creators. Okay, by the Anunnaki. Do you think we inherit some generational trauma from the creators? How much of them is in us? From what I'm gathering, we are being helped by the handsome blondes, but it is ultimately up to us to change. We don't have any of the creators working with us, sadly. They're working with the other team, so with the bad guys, allegedly. Let's put it like this. So we can't be sure of how much DNA we share with them. But according to some of our cuckoo birds, interesting, some moles, we share a lot of DNA with them. About the trauma, well, trauma is continuous. What our ancestors suffered was transferred to future generations through social and genetic heritage. So yeah, I'd say we suffer now mostly because of their origins, or of our origins, sorry. How much range does telepathy have? Can we send a telepathic message to the aliens right now? We're still studying their capabilities, but from our experiments last year, he could speak to some of us while he was locked inside a room. Okay, so he can definitely pierce walls or whatever material they use there as well. But the telepathy tapes, this new #1 podcast, or it was for a time at least, in that they talked about telepathy ranging, I don't know, over countries as well. So that might be the case here too. Our creators are destructive, and we are not different, really. Are the Nordics our creators? And are they also the actual angels mentioned in the texts? No, the closest thing to the so-called Nordics would be the entity we found. These are the ones who saved us. The creators are a mix between the so-called Greys and another race that we know nothing about. Yes, these are the angels' gods. So the Nordics are the angels and the gods. Okay? Or did he mean the Anunnaki? I hope not. but a mix between the Greys and a race they know nothing about. So my theory about the Greys being emissaries for the Anunnaki might be correct here then. Do humans have a non-local consciousness? If so, do we get to keep it after we die? He speaks of something similar to reincarnation. He even said something similar to Lavoisier. You know, nothing is lost, nothing is created, everything is transformed. He claims we humans can reincarnate in other planets and universes. Also, what Pleiadian disclosure talks about. Interesting. Also, do we get to interact with the NHI realm after we die? I am not sure, sorry. Hey, so it's the next day and we have news on 4chan. The Whistleblower came back with new photos. The community has already analyzed it by now, at least to some degree. A photo and CGI specialist and video specialist has said this is probably legit. Doesn't seem to be AI because the features in the cave match up. And let me just show you the photos actually. And we're going to go through new answers from the same Whistleblower. I thought about making this another video, but why not include it in one video, make it all one video so that everyone who stumbles upon this has all the information in one place. So let's do this. Let's go. So this is one of the new pictures. I think Reddit has added the numerals here and the signs. I'm not sure where the hieroglyphs come from. Maybe they just took them off the craft, or this is something that appeared on another craft, the Roswell one or something like that. I'm not sure. Haven't compared the two yet, but that's very interesting. And this looks, I don't know, it does look real to me with the texture on the egg as well. I mean, everything can be faked these days, unfortunately, but that's definitely very interesting. Maybe you guys out there know if this is something that has appeared somewhere before, these hieroglyphics, or not. The other picture that we got is this one. Here you can just see the egg lying around in the cave, I suppose. Maybe allegedly, supposedly where they found it the first time. Let me zoom in a little bit. Enhance. But yeah, the image quality unfortunately doesn't get better that way. But you can see here that there is markings, etchings on it. So this is definitely matching up with the other picture, I believe. Also, they did analyses of the cave itself. The features apparently supposedly match up, so that is a hint at least that it's not AGI, that it's not AI. AGI could probably do this actually. So who knows? But yeah, these are the two new pictures, I believe. And then on 4chan itself, we have new pictures as well. I'm not sure where these other pictures, the two I just showed you, came from. I just found them on X. But these are more of the images. Let me actually go down here for a second. And supposedly these are hieroglyphs, or there are hieroglyphs here on the cave wall. I thought this might be it then, because I was looking for them when they said there's hieroglyphs, but I couldn't really make out known ones, but it makes sense if these are just alien hieroglyphs. You wouldn't recognize them, obviously. So yeah. Here's the pod, the stasis pod, that the being was supposedly, allegedly in. This is probably the main box, main container. Almost looks like it's translucent, the top here from this angle. Could be. And this, I don't know, some kind of apparatus. Maybe the energy source to keep it alive. I'm not sure. And there seems to be something here as well. And if you go down, this is this looks more like a pyramid shape almost on top. But from this angle, you can't tell if it's translucent or not. So can't really make any definitive statements on that. Also, this little box here, whatever this is, probably belongs to the whole apparatus, different functions. I wish we had clearer images of this because I really want to see. But yeah, this is what we got so far. Okay, let's continue with what the OP said to the questions. Why was he alone? He refuses to tell us and believe we tried. We did try. Did he say what this year's big thing would be? Is it good or bad? He speaks of countless natural disasters, a third world war, and a looming conflict between his race and our creators, so the Anunnaki. Tensions beneath the surface are apparently reaching a breaking point. He speaks of possible reset for human civilization, so we can start all over again. What? Okay. Countless natural disasters, yeah, we have that coming already. A third world war, hopefully not. Don't need that. A looming conflict between his race and our creators. That's different from the Pleiadian disclosure that you usually read, how the Pleiadians are depicted, or the Nordics are depicted as these super all-powerful spiritual beings that no one can stand against, or the Galactic Federation at least, that is, and the creators or the Greys or whatever are just not powerful enough spiritually and technologically. So this is definitely a different story here, and the story gets much different when we go to this point, a possible reset of human civilization. Reset it by whom? So we can start all over again. Almost seems like we are being allowed that by them in a way. Like they're perpetrating that when you read this. Or it's through the natural disasters and the World War, but I'm not sure. Or this war between the two warring factions, I'm not sure. Did something happen? To me, yes, but I'm okay now. Don't worry. Okay? So that's why he took some time to answer, I suppose. Did any human walk alone and was initiated through his own suffering, like they talked about before? And he said, yes, many actually. He speaks of Gautama and Jesus, but there were many others we never knew about. Okay, so other saints. Other people being initiated through their own pain to reach God, supposedly. Someone says, I don't want to start all over again. I want my modern conveniences. I don't want to go back to hunting and cave painting. I doubt you would be here and alive if that really happened. But yeah. Why do the photos have so much noise and grain? Night vision, and these aren't the raw files. These were photos taken off a monitor at an undisclosed location. Why this is one word, I'm not sure. Maybe he's writing this message with his phone or something. Got any more photos or videos of the inside of the caves? Yes, but legally this is as far as I can go for now. Legally? How is this legal in the first place, I wonder? And what makes it illegal to post more photos? What could be in it? Maybe the being itself? He's not allowed to post. Maybe someone in his organization, the good guys in quotation marks, allow him to post this much but no further. We'll see, I guess. Can you go deeper into the corpus hermeticum? According to him, the way Hermes Trismegistus speaks about God, or the One, is the most profound way a human can describe the divine. He believes the books like the Bible and the Quran are merely reflections of humanity projected onto God. Interesting. So I'm not familiar with this literature as a collection of texts like we established last time. I will have to look further into that to understand what they're talking about here more. Why didn't you mention the Battle of Basel, 1566? What was different from Nuremberg? It was not related to the creators. It was between other races. Remember, we did and still have illegal races coming here. So I think last time we looked at the Nuremberg woodcut. So the Battle of Basel, I have never heard about actually. So there were warring factions other than the Anunnaki and the Nordics. Interesting. I would like to know who, if that is the case. Again, I'm not inclined necessarily to believe that anything that he's saying here is true, but it's definitely also very interesting what kind of narrative they're trying to paint if this is a disinformation campaign. So I'm trying to just take it all in as best I can and understand it. What are some examples of illegal races coming here? Like what species? What do they want? 74 BC Anatolia, the sighting occurred during the Mithridatic Wars. 1803, Hitachi Province, Japan. 1954, Italy, Rosalotti's case, and so on. I don't think they meant what year, but I mean, though it's also interesting, but I think they wanted to know what species. What is the purpose of the reset and what will it achieve? According to him, mankind needs to start all over in order to become capable of reaching God, or so he says. He claims we are too corrupted. That is also very different from the Pleiadian disclosure that you usually read about, how we are supposed to take part in the shift, or at least the ones with high enough vibrations and consciousness to go on into this other density, this other dimension where love and peace is all around. And this here talks about resetting humanity. Very different. Are star seeds real? Do other species incarnate as humans to try to help, or is it bullshit? Yes, he does speak of interstellar bodhisattvas, something from the Indian culture, I'm pretty sure. So you woke him up, right? So what if you hadn't? Would he still be asleep, and for how long? Or how long for? He was taken to a certain location, I won't disclose which one, but after a few hours, he woke up on his own. Okay. They didn't touch anything because they had no idea how the pod worked. And they feared that meddling with the wrong thing could kill him, likely, yeah. I think he was probably waiting for the team as if he knew. That also makes sense if you think about this theory that consciousness is interconnected and that, well, they are telepathic, obviously, and they don't really have the same concept of time that we do. They experience time differently. So for him, it might have just been a short George nap. Did the Antarctic egg come into being that way as well? This one was found next to an entity that had been sleeping inside a pod, not using cryogenic technology, for 700 years. The egg is even older than that. As for the leaked video from the News Nation segment, I wouldn't trust it. Okay, but this egg of yours almost looks exactly the same. Why would we trust this but not the other one? And why would they put out a fake video of something real? I guess to paint a narrative in a certain way, to sprinkle in truth, to make us believe something else, a lie, like Jeremy Corbell recently mentioned. Believe him or not. Did he allude to the likelihood of reset taking place? Yes. Is it very likely, or is there any factors that could make them decide otherwise? If mankind unites as one, and if we stop polluting the planet like we are, how do they even reset us? Massive destruction. Let's put it like this. They say they have to fight fire with fire. Okay, don't like that one bit. Kill most of humanity and destroy all signs that we existed, flood the earth. Atlantis and other civilizations were destroyed by them in order to protect the world. So it's nothing new to them, really. It definitely doesn't sound like a benevolent species that would kill an entire other species. Yeah, this is, I don't know, this sounds a little bit fishy. Or my image of NHI is completely off. What about people who are starseeds? They know this world is not going to last longer. I am sure of it. Are you Jewish, original poster? No, I am German. If I was Jewish, I wouldn't be disclosing, believe me. What does that mean? I mean, there are conspiracy theories out there that Yahweh is I think someone from an evil ET species, and that they confused that for the real God of the earth, and that they are following this evil entity, so maybe he's referring to that. I'm not sure. But, I mean, the good ones apparently aren't much better if they want to delete humanity. And like I said, sorry if this is offending you, this theory is just something I read. But here, see, I told you he might be German. I got this sense off of him from reading through his grammar mistakes. So it might be true. Someone said Laura, but ban a thread. Yeah, could be. If we sort of reincarnate, why do we lose our memories from previous lives? I assume it's also possible for other entities to reincarnate on Earth, and they or we don't have memories about it. Earth is essentially like hell, a place where those who reincarnate didn't have the best karma. There are countless planets like ours, where the sentient population transforms their world into a realm of suffering and despair. Okay, this is also very 100% opposite, so it might just be disinformation here to muddy the waters, if the other theory is true, from the theory that Earth is a school and that Earth is very special and there's almost no place like it, because life here as a soul, as a incarnated human is very difficult, and so it's the best school, the school of hard knocks, basically. But this talks about how the lowest of vibrations come here as a hell planet, to a hell planet. I don't like that. If that's true, I really don't. Was Bob Lazar, Jason Sands, Whitley Strieber, or the underwater UFO guy on 4chan telling the truth? Yes. If the good Nordics are so advanced, why can the Greys still hide and remain in underground places? Is it a manpower issue or a tech issue? I wouldn't know. We never discussed that. Did the alien tell you his name? Good question. According to him, since they exist as a unified entity now, essentially functioning as a single collective consciousness, they no longer need names. Instead, they use a term akin to brother or sister, though it's completely genderless. Also very different from normal Pleiadian disclosure. There they do have names. To be honest, when I read them sometimes on X, I feel like they're made up. But I mean, that's what alien names would probably sound like to us. Made up, you know. I wouldn't trust it. Bibbidi bobbidi, this thread was turned into a tragic comedy. Yep, could be. Are you politely saying we all probably have bad karma? We were actively bad people in a previous life. I didn't say it. It was him. Although, after knowing what I know, I would trust him with my life. Well, we apparently are trusting him with with our lives. If he gets to decide if we live or die. I'm not sure if I like that. OP, you gotta do better. You need to provide actual new information that doesn't read like a fiction novel. Anything would read like a fiction novel, though, to us, if it was alien. Anything. I am replying to the questions I receive here. Why don't you ask me something then? Why are you telling us this? Because understanding our potential place in a larger cosmic context is vital. If these experiences reflect genuine phenomena, they could redefine humanity's understanding of itself and its relationship to the universe. Sharing knowledge encourages curiosity, skepticism, and dialogue, key components for growth. That is true, but I mean, if a reset is imminent and if 2025 something major happens, maybe said reset, I'm not sure, why even bother? I guess, is my question here. Was Travis Walton's case of abduction genuine? Is there any aspect of humanity or our culture that this species likes or finds pleasant? The Travis Walton abduction case remains one of the most controversial and well-documented UFO encounters. His history, corroborated by multiple witnesses who saw the craft, and his subsequent polygraph tests, lends credibility to his claims. However, skeptics argue that it could have been a hoax for attention or financial gain. Regardless of the truth, the case has been deeply influenced UFO lore and the ongoing search for answers. Okay. This sounds like an AI answer for some reason. That's also a possibility, by the way, that someone just entered this into an AI and acted, or the AI acted as if they were this person. Could be. Is there any aspect of humanity or our culture that this species likes or finds pleasant? Art, music, and storytelling. Is the Jake Barber video real? No. How would he know? Who would you tell the new Trump administration to look for undeniable proof? They know where. Yeah, I mean, from what we heard, they were told. Congress was definitely told. Just haven't acted on it. Is there a location that people can go to find undeniable proof? Yes. I mean, yeah, if they were let in, probably in the basis. Will Congress gain access to this topic now that Trump has put through executive orders earlier today allowing complete access and oversight for his team? Don't trust politicians, no matter their political affiliation. They're just all one big family. That's what my theory was in the past. That no matter who you vote for, it doesn't really change anything. They give you different politicians to select from, but they pre-selected them. So you only get to choose who they chose already for you with a different flavor. You say this is all you can post for now legally. What allows you to post these legally, and why 4chan if legal? Like I asked before. I don't want to sound cringe, but once it's on 4chan, it's everywhere. The info I'm giving is already on Reddit and other sites. Soon it will spread like fire. All thanks to you, Anons. I don't understand really what makes this legal then. If just because you post it, and then it's everywhere? So you can't be traced, I guess? I'm not sure. I'm sure you can appreciate that whilst these pictures are great, they are also kind of nothing, if you get what I mean. Could you give something extremely tangible and undeniable? It's not up to me. I am one of many, and I am not, as you say, top dog. I have orders and a life and a family to protect. Can you give any more details you think might be interesting in regards the being? Like what? If you had to predict a year for complete disclosure, what would that be? Or when would it be? 2030. Not that far away, but also I was hoping for an earlier date, like this year maybe. But we'll see, I guess. Attention, I'm the OP. At this point, I'm noticing many people pretending to be me. The people are working with the US government don't believe in further information besides my last one. Don't be fooled, I'm closing contact. Would also be a lie, I guess. Where's this entity now? I mean, we're going to continue anyway, because this might just also be a psyop. Whatever. Where's this entity now? Earth, possibly in orbit, deep underground, or within inaccessible regions, or in a distant star system while maintaining psionic contact. So anywhere possible. And which world leaders would know about this information you were provided? The key leaders and high-ranking officials in major powers like US, China, Russia might be aware if such entities were real. Can we please get more detail on where the natural disaster will strike? He refuses to tell for now. He claims that if he tells us, we will change the destiny of mankind and that he will not allow. Okay. I live in Northern California across the bridge from San Francisco. I have a small baby. Should we leave? It's not going to happen yet. Don't worry. He assures us that there is still time for mankind. It's a rectangular box object that makes me think this is all crafted. Heh. Looks like a freaking Minecraft bed. I understand one of our archaeologists also commented on that. She said it was quite minimalist and simple, but as far as we know, saucer UAPs are also quite minimalist inside. Yeah, if you look at the Bob Lazar one for sure. Did the entity say anything about an afterlife? He speaks of reincarnation and karma like concepts. What does he eat? He is vegetarian. He refuses to eat meat. Okay. Does he think we shouldn't eat animals? Never spoke about our food habits. Why are people getting abducted? Because of the Eisenhower alliance with the Greys. Look it up. Most of it is true. Yeah, like supposedly Eisenhower got into an alliance for technology from the ET, and they allowed abductions to happen in return. Sounds like he was lying about feeling Sophia. He was, but also wasn't. What does that mean, lying about feeling Sophia? He was, but also wasn't. What he mentioned was something that we all felt before during our multiple contacts with other entities, aside from the one I've been mentioning. The government is using both truth and lie to control you. Makes sense. What kind of clothes was he wearing? He was naked in the coffin? He was. Also, have they interbred with us, or are we not genetically compatible? They did, and some humans still have their DNA. OP, do you still talk to the alien? How do you do that? I never did. I'm telling you what the astrologists have told me. Astrologists? I have documentations on the performed tests, QAs, etc., but as I said, I do believe in him. If yes, why not ask him math science questions? For example, for the Riemann hypothesis, we still have no proof. Maybe he can have a go at it. Good question. I think the guys at the lab will enjoy this. Thank you. As I understand it, it's very difficult to put this information out there. Would you get with any sorts of news distributor the way Barber worked News Nation and delivered the information that way? Yes, on the 27th you'll get publicly informed. We're working with a European news network on the 27th, so in a couple of days, I suppose, we will see if he's telling the truth on this, at least. Can you save yourself from this reset? Are there secure places? Has he said where and when or how it will happen? At this point, it's better to wait, friend, he answered. Does it eat or do other things? Yes. Laugh or have a sense of humor. His behavior is quite neutral. Doesn't smile, laugh, or get angry. Not that we tried making it angry. Makes sense. Is it curious? Yes, a lot. We have been filling him in about our history and events. He learned so fast. In a few weeks, he learned German, English, and most of our known history. Some of it he already knew. Does it ask for random stuff like a chair or clothes? Only clothes and some food. Oh, so you also have videos of the alien? Yes. Now that brings this conversation to a new level. Anytime humanity can see this, I'm not sure. I'm waiting for that order myself. Why was he naked without food when he was found? We are not sure yet, and he refuses to tell us much about how the pod tech works. He is quite secretive. Can you describe what he looks like? White, blondish hair, strong chin and jawbone, blue eyes and quite shiny eyes. Tall, 8 feet tall, and quite fit with some visible muscle. Okay, how did he maintain that muscle in that chamber? Maybe it like froze him in time, basically. How does he sound when he speaks? Soft voice, quite androgynous. Also a strange accent due to his native tongue. I assume he probably uses our tech to catch up. Like, does he have access to the internet or cell phones? He does have an HP laptop with internet. Like I said, we are not taking him hostage like some of you mentioned. He could kill us all, no joke. He seems to interact with some people on some forums related to nature and religion. He has been here before, according to his web history. Okay. Here, on this page. Interesting. On 4chan, I guess. What about learning? Is it a traditional learner or is it using a different approach? He learned English and German in weeks. Also, he can now read, as you assumed from my first answer, so he's reading as much as he can online and physically. Any random bits of interest, like something unique or maybe too boring, like it bites its nails or fiddles around. According to one of our team members, he's literally a statue, nothing, no shakes, no fidget, nothing. He can stay still like a rock for hours and hours. Unsettling, in a way. Did it get stranded in the cave? He refuses to tell us why he was there in this situation. Interesting. He does have an HP laptop. We gave him the computer, by the way. It's not his. It was not inside the pod. Makes sense. Has he been exposed to animals? If so, how did they react to him? Not yet. What are the protocols to engage? Like, is there always a tape going on, or must you be wearing a suit, etc.? His body is not radioactive, but the egg was. My colleagues have shaken hands with him. Have shaken his hand? Does it fear death or show what we could do or keep us from slicing? He seems to be okay. He shows no fear, and we believe he doesn't fear death because he said things like, and I quote, "The body transforms into energy for your planet. The breath, soul rises and does not die." Anyone think it could not be bio, like a robot, I guess? If it eats, how did it survive the Arctic? He was inside that coffin pod tech. We don't know how it works, but it did keep him alive. He refuses to disclose how it functions. Some of our engineers are trying to find out, but for now, no dice. What threats? Here on X, but he doesn't comment, he only reads stuff. He does not speak in most forums, aside from this one. Online philosophy club. Interesting. Interesting he would post that. This is an entire different rabbit hole now. Interesting he would post this page, if this is where the alien posts. I guess now it's up to you guys to find out where he is there. Anything about time travel? No. Any takes on our work with the collider, as in he knows what we are doing, and if so, if it's futile? Is the knowledge he has isolated to what he knows, or is it super genius, all-knowing type? He hasn't spoken about it yet as far as I know, though it's a good question. Thought on vampires, given the coffin, age and looks. Square, simple, metallic. There's a glass to see the person sleeping, and there is some unknown tech on top of it. This is interesting because this kind of pod was described in Pleiadian Disclosure as well, where the top was, I think, crystal or glass, so you could look inside. OP, did the aliens say anything about the NJ drones, their purpose, origin? He did. He said it's his kin, telling us we're still here. It's to make us aware. We believe we might see one of them presenting themselves to the public soon. Interesting. That's matching with Pleiadian Disclosure. They say that the drones are their tech as well. If humanity, US government, has an alliance with the Greys, why is their enemy, this entity, cooperating with us? The Greys work with our creators. They are like their slaves, and yet the Greys are the genetic parents of the creators. This is confusing. So the Greys were created... No, the Greys created the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki rose above them, I guess, and became their masters. Very confusing. It sounds like made up. Does he have any thought? I mean, it all sounds made up, I guess. Does he have any thoughts on our alliance? He says we are too materialistic and that we fell for a trick like children. Yeah, if the story is true, that is correct. Has he told us we should what? Has he told us we should change, I guess? Oh yes. What is this supposed to mean? Does he show anything we should think of as superpowers? He can heal us with his touch. That's also been reported. Spirit healing, and stuff like that, energy healing, mind reading, or abilities you might see in comics. He claims it's because of us being a single collective mind. Have we fact-checked him, like doing some dating based on nuclear stuff or testing if the stuff holds? Yes. Does it bleed or show physical scars to indicate human or bio-like characteristics? Yes, we have taken samples with his consent. How is the interaction like? Is he initiating 80% of the time or is it us engaging? It's the team most of the time. He's quiet and meditates a lot. Does he show interest in anything specifically? Sometimes he asks things about our tech and current events, but it's rare. This will be my last update. I must disconnect now. I'm sorry, but I am sure we will meet again shortly. I will try to answer one question on each of the last posts. What does he say we got most wrong in terms of our lore? Nothing. Never spoke about it. How many of these beings are there? Thousands, specifically or especially underground, though some walk around in public. What are the two boxes behind the coffin bed? It's only one box. That box contained tomes or book-like objects. We're still studying them. The other object is probably ice or rock. Will you submit evidence to News Nation or Roscoldheart? I rather stay away from charlatans. Harsh words. Time will come when we will communicate our findings through an honest news station in Europe, because there are still honest news stations out there. Is that true? I'm not sure about that. And that's the last time the alleged original poster posted something, because we don't really know if it still was the original poster or not, or someone LARPing. But now we have all there is for now. Or today's the 22nd of January, so we might come back to this if anything very interesting gets posted, like maybe the being that he talked about. That would be noteworthy, I would say. Other than that, hope this was, entertaining, interesting. Take this with a grain of salt, everything I said as well. I'm just speculating, just brainstorming, and we can all do that together in the comments as well. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye.